Good evening, fellow Rhodians. Come with me on a journey from the darkness and into the light. See how that worked? This is kind of neat. It's a cool light. You can get them on Amazon. They're about, I think, like $3.99, and I think they might even have free shipping. I'm going to turn these on for now, and later on, I think I'm going to bring this around here and just play around with it a little bit and just see how it looks. Or I won't. I don't know. I'm not sure. I think it's a cool light. I don't know if it's too much, too little. I also found today this cube, this like frosted clear cube. It's open on one side and it's like a box. And so what I want to try to do is put that light inside it and kind of sit it over here or something, just to give it a little warm ambiance. Anywho, I don't want to say that someone works in mysterious ways. I don't want to say that. What I do want to tell you is, with a clean tongue and a clear mind, the verse that I was trying to tell you about last night, which happens to be Leviticus 19:33 through 34. Now, the NIV interpretation of it, I've heard it said two different ways. I've seen the term alien and foreigner used, and I'm pretty sure they're talking about immigrants, basically. So let me read this to you real quick, and I got something to say about it. Me? An opinion on the matter? No. When a foreigner resides amongst you in your land, do not mistreat them. 34. The foreigner residing among you must be treated as your native born. Love them as yourself, for you were foreigners in Egypt. I am the Lord your God. I have a little bit of flair for the dramatic. Yes, I do. But can you misinterpret that? I don't think you can. Like, I've heard so many conservatives come out, even today, and say, oh, the Central Americans, South Americans, and Mexicans, for that matter, they're bringing all these new diseases in our country. And I want to say to them, well, let's send some doctors down there, because that's the most practical thing. And as much as I hate to say it, the most Christ-like thing, too. I mean, am I wrong? I don't think I'm wrong here. My point being is that, we're looking at this all the wrong way. It's so easy for conservatives oftentimes to quote the Bible when it suits them, or when they can twist the words to suit them properly. Like I said, I am not a biblical man. I am not the best example of a Christ-like person. However, I look a lot like him, and that's enough. No, it's not enough. But when I read this, I think, this is a perfect situation. This is one of those verses where you can't really screw it up. Like, it tells you exactly what you're supposed to do. If you're a follower of God, or, the Christian religion, that verse is, I mean, it's straightforward enough. You shouldn't have to really overthink it. This light is a little wacky. Let me see if I can get something. Oh, that's no good. Maybe I'll just kill it. Yeah, let's just kill it. And hit the other one. Oh, that's bad. That's not good. Yeah, I guess it doesn't matter. Sorry. Forgive me. Did you ever see that? I know I've talked about it a little bit on here before. The Fisher King. It's a really good movie. If you haven't seen it, you should definitely check it out. There's a lot of symbolism and message behind the movie itself, and I think it's a good movie. And Robin Williams is great in it. Obviously, Jeff Bridges is phenomenal in it. It's got a sweet little message. And so does this picture I've been drawing. These damn lights. It's like impossible to show you guys anything. Yeah, it's a little kid. He's eating ice cream. He likes that frickin' ice cream a lot. If there are vampires out there, God bless them. I remember there was a time, it was around 1997, that I started doing research into vampires, like trying to find out, I was young and naive, and maybe, I don't know, maybe there are real vampires. I don't know. But I started sending out emails to people I found on the internet that basically were claiming to be or I was starting to throw some feelers out there to have them contact me. And I started getting emails back. I think I still have them somewhere in my Yahoo account or something. I'll see if I can dig them out. But out of all of them, two stick out in my mind. One was a psychic vampire that wanted to convert me by traveling in the ethereal plane. I can't remember what the plane is, the plane of existence that they can... it's not. It's... It doesn't matter. Through another plane of existence to turn me into a vampire in my sleep or something. The other one invited me down to, I believe it was Georgia or Louisiana or something like that, and they seemed really serious about it, like to the point where I was getting a little nervous, like that if I didn't go, like they were going to show up at my doorstep one day and murder me and drink all my blood. But nonetheless, my passion for vampires at the time had nothing to do with vampires. It had everything to do with immortality. To be able to live in this body, on this world, forever, seemed appealing to me at the time. I mean, to be able to spend your life as a 20-something-year-old, traveling the world and you know, never aging, and pretty much being immortal with the exception of the sun, I guess. I mean, if that's an official rule. I don't know if it's an official rule. It probably is, but nonetheless, that's the appeal to me, the idea of that. And so that's what prompted that whole thing. And so I know I've talked about it briefly on here before, and if I could find the emails, maybe we'll do a whole show dedicated to it. I had an insanely complex dream last night that involved quite a few elements. I wrote all these elements down. Let me just tell you the dream. I kept waking up from it constantly last night, or I think I was waking up from it, because when I woke up this morning, I was exhausted. Absolutely. It was an exhausting dream. Either that or I really was waking up constantly. I think I was, because I remember tossing and turning and trying to stay cool because I was really hot last night. I don't know. I mean, I'm always hot, let's face it. Look at this. There's money right here. Not many of you probably know where the Swansea Mall is. It's in Swansea, Massachusetts. If you guessed that, then I'm proud of you. You get a gold star for the day. But what it is a very one-level mall in Swansea. It's dated. It's been around since I was a little kid. They've updated and so on and so forth. I honestly don't know. I'm pretty sure it's still around. You could probably look it up, Swansea, Mass. I can't remember the name of the mall, but we always just call it Swansea Mall. You know how like our Taunton Mall in Massachusetts was the Silver City Galleria. Anywho, the dream takes place mainly in this mall, this one-level mall that's been converted basically into a flea market. Every storefront is open still, unless there's nothing in there to sell, and then the gates are down. And all these vendors and stuff set up all their wares and so on and so forth. And the first thing I remember about it, I wrote a lot of this down because I knew I was going to forget, was they were closing up for the day. And people were throwing out things that they didn't think they were going to be able to sell, or that I think there was some kind of an auction or something, they were going to donate money to an organization. And so all this stuff was in the trash, and I started pulling out all these old retro video game systems and games, and I'm like, this is awesome. And I put them in leather handbags, and I left them on a pile of trash because I was going to go get my car and then come back and pick them up. Somewhere along the way, I went into the mall. I don't know why I went back into the mall, but I saw my cousin unloading stuff, my cousin Ron Alexo. And I didn't share any words with him in the dream. I just saw him, we acknowledged each other, and that was it. I went into this other huge, like almost like auditorium type room, and there was these big broken windows on the back wall, and the ocean across from it. Like, if you're, you know how you walk into a store in a mall? If you were to turn around, you would think that you would see the hallway and the next set of stores across from you. Well, what I saw was the hallway, and then beach sand, and then the ocean. However, the ocean was coming in fast, and the waves were getting to the point where I couldn't get over them. And as you know, I'm terrified of water. Like, I've grown a little bit more comfortable with it through the years, but I still have a very, very, very comfortable fear of water. And they were starting to crush over my head. And so I finally got to the point where my mother and my aunt were right near the window. I said, "You guys got to get out of here." And I was really mad at them for still being there. And I was just like, "I need my car keys." And they're like, "We don't have them." So I jump out the window, and the water doesn't come out the window or anything. It just stops there. And I go to this parking lot. Now, the parking lot is from an apartment complex that I remember in Taunton, Massachusetts. Suddenly, it's night outside, and there's a few lights in the parking lot. The trash pile is right there where I was going to pick up the stuff, but my stuff is gone now. I go over to my car. I don't have my keys, and it's my Volkswagen Jetta 3, my purple Volkswagen, from 12 years ago or whatever. And I'm really getting freaked out here. I'm like, this sucks. I lost all the cool stuff I found in the trash. I can't get into my car, and I feel very out of place. I'm alone in this parking lot, and then I suddenly realize there's one other car, and I'm kind of nervous at this point because I'm like, I don't want to approach these people. They could be murderers, and I'm alone, and I can't get in my car, and I can't get back in the mall because at this point suddenly they're closed because it's dark out. So finally I get a call that someone has my keys from the security in the mall. So I go back into the mall. The mall security starts yelling at me after this point, saying, "You can't be in here, we're closing, get out." And I remember my dream, this rage just overtook me, and I just laid into them, and I started swearing at them, like, "I need my keys, I can't get freaking home," and blah, blah, blah. And so they're like, "Oh, okay, here's your keys." And then I got my keys. The next day, okay, so that happens. I don't remember leaving. I must have woken up at this point. The next time I fall asleep, I'm back to pick up the stuff that I had found in the trash. But it's still not there, of course, because we've already resolved the issue that someone's taken it or something like that. So at this point, I'm still mad, and I go over to this little store, and the store has the games that I had found in a rack outside. So I'm like, oh, hell no. So I start collecting them and go inside. I'm like, where did you get these? Then I woke up, and that's it. Weird-ass dream, man. But I love those dreams. Like, it's nice to remember your dreams. Sometimes dreams are weird. Sometimes they're normal. Sometimes they're scary. Sometimes you wake up and you can barely hold on to them. Isn't that a funny thing? Like, you would think something that you spent some time with, at least in your mind, I guess people say that you only dream during rapid eye movement or something like that, but I don't know if that's true or not. Like, how do they, I guess it's brainwaves they must study or something like that. But even then, how do they really know? I don't know. It's science. So, that was my dream. This morning I got up, I left the house, and actually I had to edit together the footage from last night because part 2 is actually 2 parts that I had to, you can probably tell where the cut is. I had to cut it because someone came into the room, blah, blah, blah. Not a big deal, whatever. And so I started, I had to upload that, which took forever because it's a pretty long video and it's a very large file size. I don't know why the 2 other files aren't nearly as big, or they don't equal. It doesn't matter. So I go out and I started listening to the radio, and I think it was Def Leppard was on a station, and maybe it wasn't Def Leppard. It might have been a little bit older. It might have been like 70s rock, and it was on a classic station, not a classic rock station, like an oldie station. Like, I was just like, wait a minute, there's no way that is an oldie. I'm way too young for that. I remember hearing that song on the radio, even though it wasn't from my, I was born in 1975. I remember very little of the 70s, of course. But I remember hearing it in the 80s, like, the do run, 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 the do run, run. Like, I remember that being on the radio. Even though it's kind of before my time. But to consider that an oldie at this point is kind of scary for me, like that some songs that I remember, even though they may not have been from my, teens and 20s, are now being considered oldies rather than, I don't know what else you would call them. So, that sucks. I guess that's a sign of the times, These times, they are changing, man. And then I bought a soda pop today. I rarely, I never call it pop. I don't know where they call it pop. It must be in the Midwest or somewhere in Middle America. Um, because I've never heard it here or up north referred to as pop. Anywho, peach Fanta. I don't know why I got it. I was really thirsty. I've been drinking a little bit more soda than I should be these days, but I like marketing. It grabbed me, and so I picked it up, and almost instantaneously it reminded me of something. I'm sure this happens to you a lot. Scent and taste have a lot to do tied into memories, and I tasted it. I was like, oh my god, this tastes like a Clearly Canadian, a peach Clearly Canadian. Does anybody remember Clearly Canadian? They were a flavored water, a carbonated flavored water that came in a teardrop bottle. The bottles are really what drew me into them because I was like, oh, those are cool. I want those. And I used to melt candles over them because it would run down and over the drop of the tear on the bottle. And the taste is very similar. It's a little bit more sugary because it's soda rather than water, but it was remarkable. Like, it brought me back to going to this little convenience store down the street from me. It used to be a Christie's. I don't know if anybody knows about Christie's. They're like little corner markets. And then it turned into Store 44 when I was probably about 18 or 19. But this store is still there, and it's weird. It's the place that I used to go and get slushes, slush puppies. And when the guy wouldn't be looking at you do the squirts, he's like, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Black cherry, lemon lime, black cherry, lemon lime, watermelon. And you'd fill up your slush and it'd be all crazy and nasty and gross, and you'd drink it and so tart because of all the squirts in it. But they had other things there, like they're all right, this is crazy. No, maybe not, maybe not. I'm sure there's other people out there that are just as insane. There's a smell that I really like. Usually the ice cream things, like in convenience stores that you pull it up or you slide it up. I don't even know if they do that anymore, to be completely honest. I used to reach in and I'd get the WWF ice cream bars. They were so freaking good. They were really good. And they came with a card, or they came with something that, was exclusive with them. And the smell from the freezers is so unique. Like, there's nothing else like it on the world, or in the world, or around the world, or above the world, maybe above the world. And I remember going down there, and I remember we went in, me and my friend Corey, probably 15 years ago, and they had a can of High C Ecto Cooler on the shelf. Now, 15 years ago is halfway between when it came out and when Ghostbusters came out, and it came out about the same time the Ghostbusters came out. And I remember we got it, and we opened it, and something was wrong with it. But it was pretty neat to get it. But that's where I got my Clearly Canadians. They always had this weird little glass room that had 2 video games in there. And later on, I think they ended up getting rid of those and putting all their lottery stuff in there so you could go and fill out your stupid lottery things. I never played lottery. Only when it gets up to like 400 million, I'll buy a few tickets just to see, I mean, I don't mind losing $5 for the opportunity or the chance, as slim as it may be, to win $400 million. I'm not going to spend $10 a week because that would be, $520. No, would that be more? So it'd be $40 a month. Yeah, $520 a year. So I won't do that. It's just not worth it. I will take the chance to win $400 million if I'm going to throw down $5 or $10. And even that's rare because I'm lazy and I don't like going in and being like, give me a ticket. I feel like, I don't know, there's nothing wrong with buying scratch tickets or playing the lottery. I feel like a scumbag when I do, though. I think it's maybe because I just don't have a lot of money, so that when I go in there, I shouldn't be getting that. I should be getting milk or bread or whatever. So I think that's why I've never really been a huge fan of those things. I wrote down, did you guys check out that video that Marcelo did? I can't remember what the title is. The Truth of Things Unseen or something like that. Our singer, Vic Sizemore, it's his voiceover on one of his essays that he wrote. And it's really good. It's really good. I watched it again today. This is my description of my dream. Swansea Mall, ocean waves, window, security, keys lost, cousin Ron, flea market, video games. Oh, trash. Oh, yeah, trash. And parking lot. Yeah, I nailed it. That's all I needed to know. Anywho, I'm gonna play around with the lights, and I might come back and do another quick one. Or my father-in-law's leaving tonight, so I'd like to see him a little bit before he usually gets up at like crazy early in the morning, and drives down back to Florida. He'll stop halfway, but anywho, I bet you "anywho" is the most used term on the show. What do you think? Let's ask the almighty block of corn. I can't find my blocks, or I would... Actually, I found this really beefy block. I had bought these shoe racks, these wooden shoe racks, when we first moved here, that were horrible, just terrible. They weren't particle board, they were wood, but you had to put it together, and they just never worked. But I kept the blocks anyway, because they were like $5 each, and I thought, well, I can use the blocks to like raise or lower things or prop things up. And I meant to bring it up from the cellar, because it would have been like beefy block of corn, because it's probably a third bigger than a regular Jenga block. I am going to get around to doing some block of corn stuff again. I just haven't really had a time to. I'd like to do maybe like a quick little, I don't know, it'd be kind of cool to do an animated short or something like that. Although I don't know how to animate. So it would probably just be like still frames and voiceover, which could be funny as well, too, also including. I'm gonna come back and draw a picture. I've been Instagram. I noticed the one thing I've been doing a lot on Instagram is following new artists and picking up on their styles and looking at their styles and seeing how they do a nose, or how their hands are holding an ice cream cone, or that's a terrible hand on the ice cream cone. I kind of went over it real quick, but I like the face. This eye is a little too big. I'll have to downsize it in Photoshop, or I might be able to erase some of the pupil and just make it smaller. But I need to start doing these in the tone tan, the mid-tone sketchbooks, because I went back and I looked at all the elderly enforcers, and I love doing that white around them. Unfortunately, these they're not consistent. Any of them. Any single one of them I tried, and I can't find my good white colored pencil. I bought one, I don't know what that one is either, not too long ago, but it's weird. There's no wood in it. It's strange, and it just doesn't work well. That's about it for tonight, folks. I'm sorry if last night was a little bit of a disaster. It was fun, and it was a good story to tell. Rogues, certainly my favorite class to play. Easy class, if I'm just wanting to like lay back, is just a simple warrior. Wizards, if I have a long-term goal in mind for the character, it's wizards, but generally it's rogues. Rogues and rangers. Thanks for coming by again. As I always say, you guys are wonderful, and I mean it from the bottom of my soul. You make my days a little bit brighter. You guys have a great night. Don't forget to make somebody smile tomorrow. Make yourself a better person tomorrow than you were today. And let's make the world spin a little happier. Subscribe, pass this along to anybody you know who might be interested in it. And keep fighting the good fight. Thanks a lot, guys. This has been The Road to 40, episode 110. So that means if you multiply that by 3, that's the 330. So 120 would be 360. So 122 is roughly 1/3 of the way through this road. Come with me on a journey. The Mighty Boosh. Watch The Mighty Boosh. And come back tomorrow night for episode 111 of The Road to 40. And I'll see you guys further on down the road. Take care.